lovers, and welcome back to the Woodshed. This week I had one of my lovely patrons, Mr. Rick. Rick said, "Hey Andy, I love what you're doing here, but there's one problem. I don't understand what you're talking about when you say thirds, fifths, flat thirds. I have no idea what these numbers mean and how they relate to the guitar." And then he said, "I hope your content's not too advanced for me." I said, "Dude, no problem. This week's Woodshed will be dedicated to you and folks like you who have maybe learned from tabs or just learned by ear and just memorized shapes. And at that point, you don't know what another musician is saying when they're speaking intervallically. You have no idea about the Nashville number system. You have no idea about what a root is, what a flat seventh is. You just kind of know what you got from how you learned. And to be frank, there's nothing wrong with that. But this episode is going to be the gateway into unlocking intervals. This is your starting point on if you don't know what a third is or how to get there or what I'm talking about when I say root, third, fifth, seventh. This is how you're going to take those first steps in the right direction, and the fretboard is actually going to unlock itself for you. Roll it! All right, first things first. Think of music like a timeline. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay? Simple enough. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You're going to think of it on your fingers. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's all good as long as you're playing in the key of C where there's no accidentals. An accidental is a sharp or a flat. Looks like a hashtag, looks like a little B for a flat. So how do you discover which notes are accidentals and which notes aren't? You take that timeline, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and you look at it and you go, okay, there's a note that lives in between every single letter except B and C and E and F. So there's no such thing as B sharp or C flat. There's no such thing as E sharp or F flat, okay? Those two are right next to each other on the timeline. Every other note and or letter and or number will have a note in between it. So A to B has A sharp or B flat. Let's jump over to the guitar and let the guitar itself unlock the mysteries of intervals and what all this stuff means. And you can start tying your fingers to certain intervals and start playing freely across the fretboard. All of a sudden you're going to start noticing that you can play in keys that were uncomfortable before. You're going to start noticing where your chord tones are. And your playing should improve by leaps and bounds. Let's jump to the guitar. Alright guys, so here's the deal. When we're talking intervals, let the guitar be its own guide, okay? We're going to let the strings tell you what every interval is going to be. You've got to remember a couple of things, like we mentioned, that there is no note that lives between B and C. So anytime you have B or C, there's nothing between that. And there's no note that lives between E and F. For every other note in the alphabet that we're talking about, the musical alphabet, you're going to have a note that lives between them. It's like a timeline. So let's start, because this is the alphabet, let's start on the A string. So we have A, which is first. So what comes next in the alphabet? B. But B is not the next fret. There's a note that lives between A and B. Think of the open A string as if you're fretting behind the nut. A. This is A sharp or B flat. It's both notes, A sharp or B flat. Now we're going to go to B. Now remember our rule. There's nothing between B and C. So it goes B, C. So we want to play A, B, C. Now we have C sharp or D flat that lives in between C and D. So A, B, C, D. We have a note that lives between D and E, which is D sharp or E flat. So A, B, C, D, E. F, because there's nothing between E and F. There's a note between F and G though, so you have F sharp or G flat. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, And there's a note between G and A, which is G sharp or A flat. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. And then it starts over. So from here up, from the 2 dots forward, it's the same thing that you played down here. Think of the 2 dots as this. I know this may seem trivial to some of you guys, but it's really important in thinking about your intervals. So, let's play a major scale that has no accidentals. Let's play the C major scale. That has no sharps or flats in it. So let's start on C. C, and you're going to just say your ABCs. This is going to help you with the fretboard. It doesn't matter where you start. You start here on this C, you know, any one of them. Wherever you want to start. All those C's are acceptable. But for argument's sake, let's just start right here in the easiest spot. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And if you ever get lost, you can just start with the open string. So this is D, E, F, G, right? Because there's nothing between B and C, and there's nothing between E and F, okay? So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And then it starts over again. So you'd have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to assign a number to C. It's going to be number 1. So anytime we have a C, that's going to be 1 or root. Okay? Now, to play a major triad, we're going to have numbers 1, 3, and 5. Okay? So we're going to have C, then you're going to go C, D, E, right? E is our 3, C, D, E. So there we can play E here, or we can play it here. See? See how that's a third? And look at that same shape right here. Same thing, no matter which 2 fingers you put it in, the shape's the same. Right? Okay, so we've got 1 and 3 designated. Now let's add 5. C, D, E, so there's 1 and 3. F is 4. G is 5. C, E, G. 1, 3, 5. 1, 3, 5. So when I'm thinking intervallically, I'm basing everything off of the major scale most of the time. 90% of the time I'm basing everything off the major scale. So we have C, E, G. 1, 3, 5. Right? These are our like big Paul Gilbert arpeggios. Okay, you can make those triads tall. You can invert the triads, which means instead of playing 1, 3, 5, you can play 3, 1, 5, 5, 3, 1. You can have them in different octaves. Look, here's 1, 2, 3. So there's a 3 right there. So now I can play 1, 5, 3 like that. Recognize that from the Eric Johnson thing. All those different options, right? Those are all just 1, 3s, and 5s put together. So I advise you, if this is a little below your learning level, you know, understandable. But if it's not, and you've never messed with giving your notes a number, it's going to be really beneficial, because what if you're playing something like this and the singer wants to sing it in E flat? Well, instead of having to learn a whole bunch of new alphabet, I just go, okay, well, there's 1. Well, now I just need to find an E flat. Now there's 1. So now I can play an E flat. Just as easy as I can play in the key of C. And it's still just 1, 3, 5. When I'm thinking of the chord progression, if I have 6, 4, 1, 6 is what? C, D, E, F, G, A. So 6 is A. Then we have the chord, the 4 chord. So 6, 4, that's going to be A, then F. So let's play A minor, F, 1. 6, 4, 1. We're going to do it like this. 6, 4, 1. Now again, what if our singer needed to sing in F. So now we're going to have 6, 4, 1. E flat. 6, 4, 1. All I'm doing is changing the starting point. I'm changing the root. That's what intervals are. So I'm just giving every note in the scale from the root, the starting note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Now if I alter anything in that, let's say I want to have 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Get this sound. Okay, let's say we want to have maybe a melodic minor kind of thing. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you have these kind of sounds. Right? You have all of that kind of good stuff lives within moving one interval, just moving one scale degree. When we think of the Yngwie kind of sound, or maybe some Santana-esque inspired stuff, you're going to have 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, major 7. Okay, this keeps unfolding. So what I've just given you is the basic keys of intervallic knowledge. You start on the root of any key that you want to play in. So if you want to play an A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And you count up using the major scale. Now from there you'll start seeing all your shapes. Minor third, right? So when I say minor third, it just means take the 3, 1, 2, 3, and move it back a half step. Okay? Anytime you say minor, you're just moving it back a half step. Flat, you're just moving it back a half step. Sharp, you're raising it a half step. Okay? You see how easy this can be? So for more advanced stuff, jump over to my Patreon and we'll keep unlocking fretboard intervallic knowledge. Basically, you're using the guitar as its own roadmap to discover all of the areas of the fretboard that you don't feel comfortable in. You're learning the language of intervals, tying that to the fretboard, and all of a sudden things start unlocking and getting a lot easier. You start visualizing things across the fretboard. Alright, thanks for hanging out this week in the woodshed. I really appreciate you guys. I appreciate you patrons for the support on the channel. Without you guys, I couldn't continue to make these videos, so your support is very much appreciated. For those wondering what we have on Patreon, we have hundreds of lesson videos, literally hundreds of lesson videos. We have a weekly Zoom live masterclass, happens every week. We have access to my Discord channel, which has all kinds of things on it. The gear talk, mixing, harmonic talk, and then we've also got stuff in there for like video games, fitness, and all that kind of good stuff. It's a great community filled with some really great players and some great folks. And on top of that, if you seek those extra levels, you can do things like take a video of yourself playing, maybe make a recording of your solo, send it to me, and then I can evaluate it, respond, give you some tips and tricks on maybe how to take it to the next level. All of that is in the upper tiers of my Patreon, but even at the most basic tier of my Patreon, you get access to all of the videos. Every single video is available to the most basic tier of Patreon, so I appreciate you. Jump over to patreon.com/AndyWoodMusic. Alright, for tour schedules, bookings, where I'm playing, how to get my TrueFire courses, where to order my Sir signature guitar and compressor and Wampler gearbox pedal and all that kind of good stuff, jump over to AndyWoodMusic.com. It's going to link you to all of the things, the products, the lessons, the jam plays, the bundles with the Axe Effects tones and the backing tracks and the transcriptions. All of that is over at AndyWoodMusic.com. Thank you guys. We will see you real soon.